All right, this is the Beanstuber group, and today we are going to be doing exercise 8 within SAS Viya. We're going to start off with 8.1, which is going to look at the confusion matrix for the Titanic data set. So here we have the decision tree already formulated with the response being survived, looking at the predictors of age and sex. And specifically what they're wanting us to calculate here is precision, specificity, sensitivity, accuracy, and the F1 score. So to look at 4 out of the 5 of those specific measures, we're going to go down here to the confusion matrix. Here we can see the amount perished, the amount survived, as well as some error within these numerical values. For example, under perished, looks like there was 672 with an 83.17%. And then 16.83% of those perished individuals, there's errors. And the same can be found here for survivor. Now we're going to go ahead and change it to the cumulative lift, where we can look at precision. And as we already denoted, there's not a whole lot of precision going on within this measure, within this tree, because what we would be looking for is significantly more overlap between these two lines. Next, under ROC, you can see on the y-axis we have sensitivity, and on the x-axis we have specificity. Once again, there is a gap here, and what we were looking for exactly was more of a vertical shoot up of this sensitivity line and then leveling out in order to denote higher sensitivity and specificity overall. And then lastly, we have misclassification here, which we can use to measure the accuracy of this data. And what we find is similar to the confusion matrix, where we have these true positives and then these false negatives. Under survived, we have a 357 frequency of true positives and a 144 frequency of false negatives. That's a relatively high amount of error there, being roughly, 1/3 of the amount survived, 1/4 of the overall data set. So that's pretty significant. Under parish, it looks a little bit better. We have a 672 true negative, and then a false positive, only 136. And then finally, the F1 score can be found up here along with multiple other types of data. We can see it's 0.718. And if we were to compare it to the correlation matrix found within the textbook here, the logistic regression, we can see that the F1 score is very, very similar. So we're looking at the correct data, and these numerical values are accurate and precise.
So now for part 2 of exercise 8, we're going to make a decision tree, which is going to model employee attrition. So by using this data set, we're going to analyze the various predictor variables and see how they impact our outcome variable, which in this case is employee attrition. So essentially trying to determine, will an employee leave or stay within the organization based on a variety of other factors. For this particular model, I went ahead and included everything and then let the decision tree sort out what was important and what was not. So there are a lot of different variables in here. Some are more important than others, but all of which are trying to get at whether or not someone is going to leave the organization. And so the first question under part 2 is, what predictive model does SAS Viya propose? And for this particular question, SAS Viya is going to propose that we use a logistic regression, because we are trying to look at a dichotomous categorical outcome variable. And what I mean by that is it's dichotomous in that something either happens or it doesn't happen. And it is categorical in that we are looking for either yes or no in terms of attrition, as opposed to a numerical outcome, which would be better suited for multiple regression.
And for the second question in exercise 8, it asks us what interpretation can we make based on the model in regards to the predictors. And as you can see, we can make the prediction that monthly income is the most important variable when it comes to predicting employee attrition. It also shows overtime as well as job role and age.
All right, and then moving into our third question, this asks us to review our confusion matrix. So that's in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen there. We can see our model is very good at accurately predicting whether if they won't attrish or leave the organization, but it is not as accurate with predicting if they will leave the organization. That one has a much lower accuracy rate. So overall, answering our fourth question, how well does the decision model perform compared to our logistical regression? This one is slightly more accurate with only 38% as opposed to the 35% that our Chapter 7 logistical regression model accounted for.